All right, good morning. My name is Randall Crowder. I'm the COO of Phunware. We're based in Austin, Texas. We also have offices in Newport Beach, San Diego, and Miami. We live in interesting times. You know, technology is all around us, and I can't help but wonder, does technology serve us or do we serve it? And if we serve it, who's really benefiting? You see, I think we've sold our digital souls for dopamine, for likes and followers, for memes and selfies. We've allowed ourselves to be exploited. And the insidious thing about exploitation is the powers that be that usually number very few that extract the most value from us. They've convinced us that it's normal, that it's okay, that we shouldn't question it, until people start to actually question it and say enough is enough. And that's starting to happen when it comes to data, when it comes to privacy. We live in a post-Cambridge Analytica world, a post-Experian hack world, and thought leaders are starting to step up and say, something's wrong here. Data should be a human right. Privacy should be a guarantee. Corporations can kind of sense the winds of change and changes in the air, and they're starting to kind of get out ahead of it, and they're starting to talk about ensuring these things like privacy. And even governments are starting to react. Leaders are starting to talk about not only should data be something that you control, but if there's somebody being paid for data, you as the source of that data, you should be kind of cut in on the deal, on the economics. And this isn't just social change for social change's sake. There's a very real commercial implication here. Brands have been trying to engage consumers, since the dawn of modern advertising. And I always love this quote, half of the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is I don't know which half. That's been a problem for over a century. It's still a problem today. This is demo day, so make sure this camera's on. Let me give you a quick example of how marketing today really works. So here's your marketing team. This is how marketing works. And I'm just trying to throw money at the problem. Now, part of me wanted to say that I came to IBM and I made it rain, but reality is that's actually what's happening today. Brands are just throwing money at consumers, and they're trying to find a fit. They're trying to reach out to you, and really the only game in town is these data oligarchs like Facebook and Google, and it's this black box approach to marketing that just doesn't work. It's rife with fraud, waste, abuse, and that's when entrepreneurs start thinking there's got to be a better way. There's got to be something else we can do. Now, you sir here in the middle, stand up real quick. What's your name?
Matt Lindenberger.
Matt Lindenberger. How old are you, Matt?
40.
40? What do you drive?
Tesla.
Ooh, Tesla. Lease or buy?
Buy.
All right, if you were going to buy another car in the next, say, 5 years, realistically speaking, not a Bentley or a Rolls, what would you buy?
Another Tesla.
Another Tesla. All right, well, hey, I appreciate your time. Here's $10. See what I did there? I didn't have to troll his Facebook. I didn't have to turn on a microphone in his Nest thermostat that I didn't tell you was there. Talking to you, Google. I just went to the data source and I asked them a few questions, and I got information that was valuable to me. I paid them for it. That's how the model should work, and that's why we've built PHUN. It's a blockchain-enabled data exchange and mobile loyalty ecosystem. And the reason why that's important is you can finally remove these data oligarchs in the middle that operate as these insidious central authorities, and you can replace them with, imagine that, the user, the source of the data. Brands and these data oligarchs should come to you. It's your data. You should control it. If you should decide how and when it's shared, and if anybody gets compensated for it, you should be cut in on that deal. Makes sense, right? It's fair. So let's take a look at an example. Say a large cruise line that we might work with. First we want to work with a large enterprise to build your audience, to really figure out, are you reaching the right customer? And so internally to us, we have what's called a knowledge graph. It's how we curate a lot of big data and we make that actionable data. So we can look at a lot of different things that make up a user's data, make up a user's profile, and we can blockchain enable that, and that's important because there's something called self-sovereign identity. So we can verify that that activity, that digital representation of you is actually you. That's very important to brands. And so we can look at you and say, you have a certain combination of travel apps on your phone, you've maybe gone to certain locations that are important to the brand, maybe you went to Disney World, and the cruise line thinks, hey, anybody that went to Disney World would be a great target to go on a cruise. So we use that to build your audience in a thoughtful way so that we make sure the right brands are contacting the right consumers and we don't bother with people who may be not interested. Now that's when it gets really excited. Once we actually have an audience built for that brand, we don't, one thing, we've been working with enterprises for a long time. And the one thing you don't want to do is ask an enterprise or their customers to change behavior, to download another app, to install another browser. So what our engineers came up with is a very elegant solution. We have an SDK. For those of you who don't know, it's a software development kit. We can install that in an existing mobile application, and that allows us to map and track what we call profitable behavior. These are things that a brand wants a consumer to do. We want you to share an itinerary with a friend. We want you to book your cruise now. We can reward you with cryptocurrency for taking these profitable actions that are beneficial to the brand. Now, we're not a one-trick pony, so we don't have just one SDK. We have an entire suite of SDKs. You also have something called a location-based services SDK, which allows us to do very interesting things indoors. Think of it like taking GPS functionality outdoors and bringing that indoors for real-world interaction. So we can start compensating users for, say, dwelling in a casino, because they're degenerate gamblers, and we want to reward them for that. And so we can also do things like, as you arrive at the port, we have a cruise line talk to us and say, if we can just get marketing collateral into the hands of passengers while they're waiting to board the ship, they're much more likely to buy. Great. Well, we wouldn't just put a brochure out or a sign. That's 20 years ago technology. We would actually hit them with a push notification once they park or while they're waiting in line. We would ask them, hey, for 1,000 cruise coin, would you watch a video about all the wonderful excursions you're going to have available to you on your trip today? So now you're watching video of families zip-lining in the jungle, riding horses in the ocean, your kids yanking on your sleeve going, Dad, I want to do that. And we say the video ends for another 200 cruise coin, book in the next 20 minutes. And because you're also a member of our rewards program, we'll give you 20% off another excursion of your choice. So you're able to start converting customers at that decision point using cryptocurrency to influence that profitable behavior and just gain that mind share in that moment. Now you're earning all this, cruise coin. I keep saying cruise coin, not fun coin, for a very specific reason. We want to maintain that brand awareness. We allow brands to actually take our fun coin and have a branded instance of it so that they can kind of keep reinforcing their brand, in this case, cruise coin. But we also want to deliver to them a marketplace. So you can use all that accumulated cruise coin and you can buy goods and services from that brand, or you can cash out to an exchange if you want to go into Bitcoin or do something else. I know what you're thinking. That's a lot. You're biting off a lot. Why you? Why are you going to be successful? And I've said this a lot for anyone that's ever heard me speak. The future of blockchain really lies with real companies, with real teams, with real experience, launching actual solutions that solve real-world problems and complement real-world business models. And so, Phunware isn't, 3 people around the world who got together on a Google Docs and decided to write a white paper and convince the world that they were a business. Call those wantrepreneurs. Actually, we've been doing this for 10 years. We built the first NFL app, the first NASCAR app. We still build and maintain the majority of Fox's mobile application portfolio. We've been around for a decade. When enterprises need mobile ecosystems built at scale and done right, they come to Phunware. In fact, that's allowed us to create a platform that sees anywhere from 600 million to 1 billion active devices a month. We generate about 5 terabytes of data every single day. We have over 150 phenomenal employees, and we just went public on NASDAQ last December. And so when I actually told my engineers that we were going to be doing a demo day at IBM, it didn't even cross their mind that it was going to be some screen shares or hey, can we get some artwork done? They're like, oh no, we'll have the demo ready. We'll have our SDK ready. It wasn't, hey, go raise some money in ICO and figure out how to build something and maybe do something once upon a time in the future. We actually have our SDK ready to go, and we're ready to kind of start. We're starting to talk to customers about it now. And this is just a quick demo that I'll walk you through real fast. Say you have an enterprise. This is what I was talking about with actually having to be able to integrate with an existing mobile application. Sign up. Remember, every time we're talking to enterprise, engineers or their team will say like, oh no, how is this going to affect us? We say, look, keep doing what you're doing. We'll integrate within your existing workflow. This is just a sample app for Spoonful. Think of it like recipes. You can actually, you go through, you sign in the same way. Let this load. So think of it like recipes. So you might share a recipe with a friend. You can earn additional dessert coin for just sharing that recipe. You can unlock recipes depending on how much dessert coin you have. If you don't have enough dessert coin, you won't be able to unlock it. You have to earn more by doing things that, again, are profitable, providing more information to that brand. The neat thing about a lot of this is you've never had to download the PHUN wallet. You've never had to do anything else. You're just living within the existing mobile ecosystem of that enterprise application. Now, once you want to actually take custody, that's when you deep link to our PHUN app. We'll send you back out. That's when you would download the PHUN wallet, and then we would go through, if anybody's been through the process with Coinbase or anybody else, you actually do have to go through a little bit of a series of steps, recovery phrase, KYC and AML, and these are important to brands. I think a lot of people look at blockchain and cryptocurrency as this, very sneaky, anonymous thing. It's actually the opposite for enterprises. Being able to verify users is very, very important. You want to know that you're actually reaching the right person so that you can begin to reduce and minimize a lot of this fraudulent behavior. So when you launch the PHUN app, you go through that process, you're able to finally, take custody of your cryptocurrency. And you can also look at all the other, branded applications that you're supporting and where you're accruing that coin. You see, even though the underlying asset is PHUN, it's really, cryptocurrency as a service. You're allowed to, brand these applications so you can kind of know who that loyalty, where that loyalty is coming from. And, we have our own wallet, and then, you'll be able to see the last, you go through your key phrases, and the last, this will go quickly. Last scene is really just the summary of all the. Anybody's ever done this before? It takes a while. So it's actually a real app. So if we actually had to do this, there's no way to shortchange it. So this is literally setting this up, confirming your recovery phase. And then last but not least, summary slide of where you've been accruing all of your PHUN branded as other coins and for the things you've done. So with that, I will take questions if we have time.
We don't have a ton of time, but we'll do one question if anyone has a burning question. Otherwise, I'll ask one. Okay, front.
And if it's a really smart question, I'm going to make Matt do it. He was a plan.
No, it's not a smart question. Just curious what your initial target market is. Like, what are the types of companies you're going to be working with first?
Really, we see a lot of this in retail and hospitality. So we already work with the Wynn in Las Vegas. We actually are working with a few cruise lines. Anywhere where there's a lot of foot traffic, we want to bridge the gap between the virtual world and the real world. So I think when you use all of our software, when you actually use that location tech, you can really delight customers in the real world using all the information you collect in the virtual world. And blockchain just becomes, we couldn't do it with traditional fiat. Like, we were trying to think about how do we enrich our data? How do we make our data better? How do we make it actionable? And you couldn't, give out dollars and cents at scale across the board. And so for us, blockchain was a natural evolution of something we were trying to do anyways for our company. And where we see that the most is kind of that where you see a lot of people, congregating in any one area. So like in a retailer, we can introduce that same thing I was talking about with the videos. You could be walking through a Target, cross an end cap and say, hey, based on your purchase history, we think this product on the end of aisle 19 would be great for you for 1,000 Target coin. Will you watch a quick 15-second video on why it's so amazing? And so now you kind of take that infomercial-like capability into a real-world setting. So anywhere there's kind of like hospitality, retail, sports, entertainment, those are great fits for us because you have a lot of people trying to do a more delighted experience.
So thank you for bringing the best prop I've seen in a pitch. There's still dollars in the front here, and they're real. So nothing about this is fake. The demo's real, the product's real, the money on the ground is real. So thank you, Randall. Thank you, Phunware.